3, 2, 1, live.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, it's that time of week again. It's a Wednesday evening right here in sunny downtown New York. Actually, it's a little cloudy tonight, I think, right?
Yeah,
something like that. Anyway, I am Mark Mendoza. Oh, here it is. You know what I mean? I again, you said turn the speaker off, and I didn't. But I did on the other feed, so I'll turn it off on this one. In any case, I am your host, Mark Mendoza. I am no paid spokesperson, and I say that every week for a reason, and some people get it, some people don't, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, the show is 22 Now. The network is Area 22 Productions, and I always say that I have a good friend of mine on unless I don't know the person. But I do have a good friend of mine on tonight. Known him for a long time. He has a shop that works on motorcycles, ATVs, jet skis, jet boats, lots of small engine stuff, and he's also a drag racer. And a great friend, and always been helpful. And everybody, welcome Chuck Seeger.
Good
just
to be
like
here.
How do we say Seeger? Just like Bob Seeger.
Just like Bob.
Just like Bob Seeger. Anyway,
like Bob.
Chuck Seeger, welcome Chuck Seeger with me tonight.
Good to be
it's
here.
Great
Thanks
to
for
have you.
having me.
I appreciate it. It was a last minute thing, and I appreciate you doing that.
Can't say no to you.
We've go back years. I mean, I think late 70s.
Early 80s,
early 80s, like that.
Yeah.
All because of the motorcycle industry.
Yeah, drag racing.
Drag racing, motorcycles. You handled back in those days. You mostly just did Japanese motorcycles, and Teddy and I, we did all the Harleys and stuff. And you eventually changed over to everything. You actually have an incredible reputation for working on Harleys these days.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you do. You really do. I hear a lot about it.
Always worked on them.
Always did.
All my friends had them.
Everybody always thought, if you want to call it the metric side, you were the metric side, and you're really not. You do it all.
Yeah.
You do it all. I mean, right? I mean, engine building, transmissions, everything.
We do a lot of stuff there. Yeah.
Yeah, you do a lot of stuff.
Complete service, parts and accessories,
and stuff. And you've worked on my bike. You know, I just don't. I can do it myself. You know, I can. Who has the time?
I know.
You know, it needs small things done, and I bring it to you.
We don't ride enough.
And another big part of Chuck's life is drag racing, both cars and motorcycles.
Yeah,
you're the man. You're one of the guys who stomps the loud pedal.
I try.
Right.
Yeah. We tried this weekend a little bit. We had some fun.
You did, didn't you? We'll go over that in a minute. But business is crazy, huh?
We're busy this time of year. Yeah, sun's out, people riding. Yeah.
People riding, but I also see plenty of ATVs at your shop.
Yeah,
you make hot riding.
Not
ATVs
so much.
too.
Not so much in the summertime. Yeah. More in the fall and the spring. When the weather's a little cooler.
Yeah.
Here on the island, we like to be out in a boat.
I also saw jet skis there.
Yeah, and not so much jet ski work. Most of that stuff is mine.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I don't have too much time to work on jet skis anymore. If you're on the water,
it's a little. Jet boat too. Is that yours?
No, that was a customer's. Yeah, these are friends. Yeah, we just took a look at it real quick and off it went. Yeah.
But I've seen plenty of that stuff around the shop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Even so, someone would just take the motor out and the drive and bring it to you and let you work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some guys used to do that.
But dabble a little. Yeah.
Yeah. I come to your shop occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
And I stop by to see you and the guys and stuff like that. And always a funny place. Always a lot of comedy going on.
Can't have a stress in the workplace. Yeah.
No, you can't have a stress
no fun.
in the workplace. That's you, and that's great. And it's just great to see. I'm telling you honestly, after all of these years that you're doing well, what you're doing. You've definitely have a stable community around you of people that are dedicated customers.
Yeah. No, it's appreciated. Yeah.
Tough
it's not easy to do.
Tough thing to gather these days, really, to have so many dedicated customers that come around and come back all the time. And you go around, you talk to people, and everybody knows who I am when I go to these events, but I never hear anybody saying anything bad.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's real good. It's real good.
Try to do the right thing,
So a little quick branch here. So you went drag racing this weekend.
I did,
and you did a car and a bike.
Yeah, a lot of business. Yeah,
you did a lot of business.
Yeah.
So you drove from the New York area, went down to Atco, that's in
South Jersey.
South Jersey. So what did you do? What kind of times would you run?
We brought a 71 Challenger RT.
A real 71 Challenger?
Yeah, well, it's a clone. It's the company Hot Rod. It's a nice car. You've seen it, the yellow car. I think you've seen it before.
Sure.
That one ran mid-13s.
Did it really?
Yeah, we've been trying to get to the drag strip with it for the last couple of years. I've been playing with it here and there, and the boys always ask him, when you going to try? This week it was actually the first time I've been down the track in a car.
Really?
Thousands of passes on motorcycles. Nothing.
In all these years I've known you, you've never drag raced a car?
Never.
Even I drag raced a car.
Yeah,
you know that I drag raced a car at National Speedway?
Yeah, that's before my time.
I'm showing my age. But I did run at National Speedway for a couple of years in a row in an old Camaro. Yes. A lot of fun, man.
The car was fun. Yeah, the car was fun. It was different. I never raced a car. You have a helmet on, you can't hear anything. No. It was a little different, but we made 2 good runs.
Yeah, plus it's a much bigger hunk of steel and takes a little bit more to get it moving.
It was a little slow.
I mean, your times are probably really low at reaction times on a motorcycle.
Yeah. No. Well, the bike I brought was a little bit faster. That one run like low 9 quarter miles. And that's a street. That's a street bike.
So low 9s, and what was your mile per hour?
Like 150.
150. Huh?
Yeah.
And it's a street bike.
Street bike. Drive it any way you want to go.
Ride.
The white one. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's a fun bike.
Oh, I would say that.
Yeah. It was a good time. They're good there. They treat us well. You know what I mean? The track is good. Everything moves along.
Gee, the sidetrack that we're taking here about drag racing, it's a shame that, before the show we were talking for a little while, and I happen to be a big drag racing fan, and I happen to be on Ted Grabowski's team when he was running the modified Sportster. And it was a fast bike. It was a great bike, so I gained a lot of experience being about racetracks, about drag strips around that time. Sure. And it's a shame to see that we're losing all of them. I know there's everybody out on Long Island that says Long Island needs a drag strip. It's never going to happen.
No.
No. Unfortunately, it's never going to happen.
We wish it could. Yeah.
And we're also losing another tremendous, incredible track, Maple Grove in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you told me.
I heard they just sold it for a bunch of condos. A great drag strip. You've been there.
I've been there.
So have I.
Yeah, a bunch of times.
Great drag strip out in midway through Pennsylvania.
Reading, Reading,
Pennsylvania. Yeah. So that's awful. It brings a tear to your eye when you see them lose these great tracks. But they keep offering these the owners more and more money for their land.
Oh yeah.
It's not that they wanted to close it. It's just that the land is so valuable at this time.
It is, and sometimes there's some things. It's usually family owned. So sometimes something happens in the family, and some things go certain ways. You never. I don't know.
I just the article that I had read about Maple Grove was the fact that they had gotten just such a great amount of money for it that they decided.
And they've been there for years.
Yeah, Maple Grove. I've been going there since I was really young.
I went there in the 80s.
Yeah, I went there in the late 70s.
Yeah, in the 80s.
Sure. That really hurts when you hear that, Of course, I like any motorsports, whether it's Indy cars or round NASCAR, and we have basically one track left here on Long Island, right?
Yeah, Riverhead.
We had Riverhead Raceway, which is a lot of fun.
One. Oh yeah, you ever go there on a Saturday night?
Sure,
it's a ball.
Absolutely, it's a ball. It's
the town's into it too.
What's that?
The town is into it. Town of Riverhead there.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to see some local racing on Long Island, you go out to Riverhead Raceway and you see the stock cars going round and round.
I think it's a NASCAR.
It's a NASCAR
sponsored
gig. Yeah, NASCAR sponsored. But I certainly remember when I was young, my father used to take myself and my friends to Freeport.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid.
You were there?
Yeah, when I was a little kid, I have
Freeport,
vague recollection.
I don't know. I think it's a Kmart or a Walmart.
It's something now. It was right in the middle of town. I remember the track was right in the middle of town.
It was great, and I lived probably I grew up probably about 12 or 14 miles from there, and you heard the track.
Oh, yeah.
You heard it for miles. It was great. I loved it. It was just great sound, and it was exciting to be there and watch the cars go and watch all the craziness, and walk through the pits and see everybody hustling to get everything done for the next meet. So it was crazy stuff. But Maple Grove, that hurts.
Yeah. I haven't been there in some years.
Yeah,
we used to do the NHRA race, the Division One.
Division One.
Yeah,
sure.
Division One race. But then they moved that down to I think like US 13 or somewhere down south.
Like that. Yeah, a little too far to go overnight.
Even Maple Grove was far. It's like 5 hours from here.
No two ways about it. And it's not so much that it's far; it's the traffic. It's the traffic. You could pretty much get where you want to go. It is coming back to the New York area, where it just almost at least doubles your ride, if not sometimes triples the amount of time it takes to get home.
Most of the tracks, if you go out first round, you have a chance to get home like in a decent.
If you go out first round.
If you stay in, if you go a few rounds.
Most people who even go out first round just stick around for the race. And then when you're driving home, you go like, oh, I should have left after I lost. Sure, it's craziness.
Yeah, man.
So the shop's doing well, right?
Yeah, we're okay. Yeah, we're okay.
And you just have you and your mechanic now. What's his name again?
Yeah, Nick.
Nick, that's it, Nick. Nick, the guy who has a toolbox big enough to live in.
Yes, you could. You
Yours
could actually
is pretty close to that too.
Well, mine doesn't have the spot for the mattress if you need it.
Right. It has that garage door on it, right? That opens.
It's like its own little tabletop.
He and his girlfriend and his baby could live in there.
That's too funny.
It is. It really happens. I don't know, the Snap-on box or something.
Yeah, no.
It's very funny, but he seems to know what he's doing.
He does. He's been with me for a long time.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
You know, I've been, let me think, he's probably been there on and off for 15 years.
Really?
Yeah. The last couple of years straight, he bounced around a little bit.
I try to go in and not actually tease him, but like tickle his brain to see what he knows. He really has the answers. Yeah. I know you do.
He pays attention sometimes. That's good.
Yeah, sometimes he pays attention. Yeah, he seems to put out some pretty good work. Right?
He does. Yeah, he's my boy. Yep, he hooks it up.
So ATVs, spring and fall, motorcycles. All summer?
All summer, yeah. We do like engine builds, like most of the custom stuff, engine builds, stuff like that, we save for the winter months.
Right.
Because during the season, it's just too busy.
It's too crazy to actually take on engine work and stuff.
So. I still do some stuff like bore cylinders, mill head, stuff like that.
But you're not going to build something from the ground up.
Now's not a good time.
Yeah,
we're busy.
Now's not a good time. So mostly, I mean, if you just, even if you just want, a service.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I do those all the time.
You'll get in and out.
Yeah.
In and out.
We keep a lot of stuff in stock, so this way, and even if I do have to order parts, they come in a day, 2 days tops, so it's not like it's a big, long, drawn-out thing.
I mean, that's great. I see a lot of the stuff there is just there for service. I mean, you point out stuff to me, who's there for what. I always check on you.
Keep laughing at me, all the Harleys. You're like, what's all these Harleys coming from?
I know. I see all the Harleys there, and I'm like, man, he really... At first, I thought you just there to have him show. Everybody grew up. Everybody grew up. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean you grow up. Some people don't grow up to Harleys.
That's true.
I mean, I do. I never grew up. I was always Harley guy, But I remember back when Ted had JRT in Ted Grabowski, still had JRT back in Lindenhurst, and I took a Suzuki. I think it was a bike you were working on, and I think I took it from you, and it was a Suzuki 1100. Yeah,
GSXR.
GXXR, and you had the bottle on it. Yeah. And you said, get out on a parkway and try it, And I remember getting the speedometer up to about 137, and it still had another gear to go. And I said, that's enough. That's really too much.
Fun
for
stuff.
Me. Too much for me.
Not for everyone.
What's that?
Not for everyone.
No, but I remember how easy it was to lift the front wheel off the ground. That bike went. I don't even know. I think it was yours, wasn't it?
The white one.
For you. Yeah, take this for a ride. Yeah, never again. That was definitely a pucker factor.
They're somewhat friendly, user friendly, but it's all.
It was definitely
how much you want to turn the throttle. You want to turn the wrist. You're going to get excited very quickly.
We were talking, again, when you came in, we were talking about various things, and I'm going to go back to drag racing for a minute, because I remember an article that I read with Eddie Hill. He's a top fuel drag racer.
Right.
Broke a lot of records.
Oh, yeah, he was the man.
He was the man.
He wasn't a young guy either. When he started, he wasn't a young guy.
He wasn't a young guy, but there was an article, and about a half-page article, I think, in Dragster magazine, and the writer was talking about everything that went on in his mind before he actually went down the track. Okay, and so they got to a point, and I think we were just discussing it. Yeah. So it got to the point where he was talking about, psyching himself up and getting his suit on, getting the helmet on, getting all the protective gear on, climbing into the cockpit.
Right.
All right, sitting in the seat, and then putting on the 5-point harness, and making sure that everything is in the right place, all the levers and everything, and they get the motor started. You run up to the traps, and you smoke the tires, and you go back, and So now, and I'm skipping out a lot of steps in his mind, and he went through all these steps
Right.
that he goes through, and he watches his crew chief there, who tells him, this or there, where the sticky
a whole
spot in the
procedure,
track.
yeah, you
It's
go
an
through the whole
amazing
procedure.
when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go to when you actually read an article like this and see what they go through. And we, as just spectators, we just see the
Right.
the motor lights up and he goes.
do a
The
burnout and off they go.
Tires expand about 2 feet,
Yeah.
and they go. But there was one line that really stuck out and was very funny. So. When you're drag racing, now we have 4-wide drag racing, but we'll just stick with the 2-wide for a second. You got the tree in the middle, right? So you first you stage, right? Both cars have to
Pre-stage
stage.
and then stage,
And
yeah.
Pre-stage and then you stage, okay? And it's time, the tree turns yellow and then it hits green. So the rider wanted to break that down in steps, and he did. And then actually when the green went on, they said, so what happens when it lights up green? And Eddie Hill said, you stomp the loud pedal.
That's when the party starts.
Because it's that loud.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody's been to, especially Top Fuel.
All the fuel stuff's another world.
Oh,
yeah.
Top Fuel is just another world. They're burning nitromethane. That's just, and what is really nitromethane? It's a floor stripper.
Yeah, it
right?
is.
You
Yeah,
strip
it's
the
cleaning
wax off of
fluid.
the Cleaning
Yeah,
fluid.
yeah.
It strips the wax.
nasty
off the floors.
stuff.
Nasty stuff, but you have to make a lot of compression to make it blow up.
It's another,
is some
the whole
serious-
science with nitro is like completely different than regular like fuel or
Yeah,
even
yeah.
alcohol.
Sure.
The nitro guys, it's it's like Mr. Science.
Oh,
And if you don't know
Science
what you're
without
doing,
doubt.
it goes
Because,
boom.
I mean, although any internal combustion engine, there's a little explosion going on in each cylinder.
Right.
Those are massive explosions.
Oh yeah.
Massive.
Yeah. It's another world.
Massive explosions.
You have to use 4 times as much, I think, as like regular fuel.
Right.
So the fuel lines are like garden hoses.
Yeah, they're
everything.
tremendous. Yeah, tremendous.
When
And,
things go wrong, though,
that
things
goes
go
tremendous.
Yeah,
you
and
see
they
those
go
motors
boom.
explode.
Yeah.
They detonate.
Yeah. They're pretty much on the safety thing.
Yeah,
They're
they are.
pretty much, they got that covered now. They still have little issues now and then, but for the most part, they got it worked out. So guys ain't getting hurt, girls ain't getting hurt.
But you certainly hope not. And it happens once in a great while.
Yep.
It happens, and that's not something that we want to harp upon either.
No,
but,
negative.
But it's a very safe sport. It really is a safe
yeah.
sport, and it's great because when you get to it, I have a very good understanding of automotive stuff. I really do. I mean, I'm not an expert like you. I certainly have built my own bikes and my own cars.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Top Fuel drag racing, and the same thing in funny cars. There's really no transmission that shifts gears, right?
No, it's high gear only.
It's high gear only, and it has to do
All through clutches.
clutch slippage until it locks up. at the
Timers and
top end, right?
springs, and they basically they put a tune-up in the box.
Right, in the box.
And if everything goes right, it does what you told it to.
Right. So does it actually lock up at one point at
Yes.
the top end?
Yes.
So it's just locked together, and
Yeah.
that's it at the top end of the track.
When they first take off, there's a lot of clutch slippage just to cut the car moving,
Mm-hmm.
and then as they're moving down the track, the clutch is slowly grabbing, and then at one point it's locked up and you're hauling.
That's amazing. What kind of horsepower are we talking about in a Top Fuel dragster?
Yeah, I think they're saying like 10 or 15,000. That's pretty wild.
For all of
8
about
cylinders, 500 cubic inches.
500 cubic inches for all of about. By the time they start the motor to the time they shut it off at the end, how long do you think that engine's running for?
Maybe a minute or two.
A minute or two.
Yeah,
That's it.
maybe we'll say 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But
So-
the actual pass is usually like 4 seconds or
4
less.
seconds or less. Yeah, they're down in the threes now.
Yes.
At about 330 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Man, that's incredible. The G-force is sitting at something like that must be
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's pretty wild, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll try that one day.
I'd love to experiment. I'd love to see what it's like.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll probably get out of it and go, no more.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Here's something that you could might be relate to a little bit on the music side of things. It was funny that one of my sound engineers for Twisted Sister used to say he didn't know anything about automotive, but he liked drag racing, watching it, and he used to say that mixing Twisted Sister was like sitting in the cockpit of a Top Fuel dragster, because when you went, the only thing you could do is turn the wheel a little bit,
Right.
and it just the band took you at 300 miles an hour,
great.
and you had no control over
I've
it.
been to plenty of those shows.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, you have been. You have been to those shows, but it was funny how he assimilated that with drag racing. Like,
Sure.
You go.
He's in the
pedals to
cockpit
floor,
and
you could just turn the wheel a little bit to keep you like center on the track, and that was it. And that's what he said. It was like mixing Twisted Sister.
That's funny. It's comparisons
So you get
for
it, right?
everything. I get it. Yeah.
I did like the term "stomp the loud pedal."
Dude.
You've heard that before.
That's a Nitro guy thing.
Is it?
Yeah,
That's a Nitro guy thing.
That's a Nitro guy thing. Yeah. I hear Cap saying that too. He's a funny car guy. I hear Cap say that too.
Well,
You know,
Funny
a bunch
Car
of
is
them.
also Top Fuel. Most of them.
Oh,
There's some alcohol.
there's Top Fuel and Funny Car. They have a couple different branches. They have Top Alcohol Funny Car. They have Top Alcohol Dragster, which is like the step below Nitro. Still plenty fast.
Yeah,
It's
still
just
plenty
different.
fast.
You know, but the Nitro is just another world. As far as performance, and just to run them, I mean, it's like the top level.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely top level.
USGP. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
for bikes or Grand Prix for cars. It's the top level at that particular sport.
So, and when they run, especially in Top Fuel, they break the top end of the motor down
Every time.
every run.
Yeah.
And put it back together.
Sometimes they leave like the short block in the car, and they check some things, but new pistons, new rods, they just swap everything out, and they get it all turned around. I think it's like 75 minutes now.
Wow.
It used to be 90. I think
That's
it's 75
amazing.
minutes. But these guys like machines. They're trained to do this. It's like a NASCAR thing when they do like a pit stop.
Yeah.
They before the cars even cooled off, they got the heads off, blowers off. They have a whole nother rack of stuff. We were checking it out when we were in Charlotte.
Yo, I've seen it. I've been
pretty cool.
backstage at drag races before, and it's great stuff. It really is great stuff. So tell us, how do we get in touch with you? How do we find you? Where's your shop?
It's in Farmingdale, 151 Allen Boulevard.
So
Been there 30
Allen
years this
Boulevard
year.
is on 110 where the U-Haul dealer is,
Right off Route 110.
Right off Route
between
110.
Southern State and 109.
You're not big on the web.
Now we
really not.
stay pretty busy. Yeah, we stay pretty busy. I don't it's good stuff. I appreciate all the comments and nice things people say.
Right.
But if you Google me, you find me.
You just got to Google
People got it.
Mid-Island Performance. in
Mid-Island
Farmingdale,
Performance.
right?
Yes, sir.
In Farmingdale, and it shows the phone number there, and give Chucky a call and tell him what the problem is, figure it out, and come or stop down and see him. 151 Allen Boulevard. We're certainly not done talking about this stuff yet, but there's always people out there that ask various things. Like somebody made a comment is, well, where do we find him? So and this guy that's asking happens to be in England.
Oh, nice.
So and it's the middle of the night there. So
He can come by. We're there during the day.
So you have obviously a ton of experience on all types of motorcycles. Very interesting. The Harley Davidson, a V-twin, is basically an old, antiquated way of running an engine. It is. I mean, I'm asking you.
Well, the old timers call them a compressor on wheels.
Right, compressor on wheels, right? Compressor on wheels, right?
Hey, but they get it done. The new ones are good.
Absolutely. I love them. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's
come a long
nothing like
way.
the sound of a Harley. But, I mean, to make instantaneous horsepower, it's really the Japanese-style engine that does it so much better, right?
It's just different. Yeah, it's just
the
different.
inline four.
Harleys always have the V-twin air-cooled, a lot of flywheel, a lot of low-end torque. They don't got to really rev them to make them go. The Japanese stuff is just a little bit different, but now they've come along with the metric V-twins,
Right.
which kind of give Harley a little run for their money. But Harley's holding their own. They'll be all right.
Sure, absolutely. But the again, going back to that Suzuki that you owned that I rode. I mean, what
was a
kind of
four-cylinder.
horsepower was that putting out? Do you
Maybe
remember?
150.
150. That if I put wings on it, I'd be flying.
Yeah.
It would give me some lift, and I'd be flying.
Back then, Harleys I think made 50.
Yeah, about 50. Sure, they were a little. Quite
The new
a bit
ones are
now.
good. Yeah, the new ones are good.
The new ones are good. So you think that Harley went in a good direction, technology-wise?
Oh yeah, there's TerraForce to be reckoned with. Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
one of the bigger motorcycle companies. So.
No two ways about it. But the technology, I mean, they still are a V-twin, which is really ancient technology. It's just the style of the engine.
It is.
It is
But,
ancient, but this day and age, you're talking about it's now all computer controlled.
Yes.
I remember the early fuel injection that happened to be good.
Right.
But now it's computer controlled.
Now it's Delphi, just like a car.
Yeah.
You can plug in and you can.
OBD2, right?
Yeah, no, that one's not
I know
OBD2,
it's not
but
OBD2,
you can actually do it on the gauges.
Right.
You can break down if it's got a check engine light. See what kind of codes it's throwing.
Oh,
I had a Triumph in the shop last week, and it's 2010. Give me a check engine light, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I go to pop the seat off, and I look, and I see an OBD2 port. I plugged it just like a car, my car scanner. Plugged in, figured out what was wrong.
Did it tell you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I never thought that I'd be using an OBD2 scanner.
Not on a bike.
OBD2 on a bike.
Yeah. It had the big plug. It was like, tucked under the seat.
Under the seat.
And I looked in and I was just like
under the dashboard, right?
Yeah. And I plugged my stuff in and.
Yeah, the technology is amazing. I mean, now they're actually selling that technology to the common person.
Yeah.
Like, plug this device in your OBD2 port and then read it on your cell phone.
Yeah. It's not like the good old days. Yeah, the good old days you were handcuffed to the dealer or whoever had the software. Now pretty much you can buy for the bikes, the cars, anything you need.
So I mean, obviously you have the full scanners in the shop to read everything. What is the most difficult bike to work on?
That's a tough question. They're all, some of the older ones have minds of their own.
Do they?
Yeah, they weren't, some of them weren't engineered as well. They built the bike and didn't really take into consideration at some point somebody has to work on it.
Well, that's true with a lot of cars too.
Yeah. But in the newer stuff, with time and technology, it just gets better. Some of the older V4 Hondas were a little cranky to work on. Some of the bikes you got to take the motors out to get a valve cover off.
Oh, really?
On some of the metric stuff.
That's
amazing. Harleys are pretty much the same. Yeah.
A good friend of mine recently rode a bike to you and wanted to change the back tire.
The car tire.
Yeah, the car tire. What bike was he riding? It was a Honda
Valkyrie.
Yeah. What do you think of them as motorcycles?
6-cylinder. Yeah, it's kind of like a novelty bike.
Is it?
They're big. Well, it's a big guy's bike. It's 6 cylinders. It's it's just a 1500 cc.
I thought it rode and handled nicely.
It did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. They're good bikes. Honda knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
But every couple of years, they'll come up with some, like weirdo kind of cultish type bike, and they'll make it for a couple of years and then stop. I don't think they make those anymore.
I don't think so either. No, I don't think they do. But I remember he was talking about trying to put a car tire on the back of his bike. And he swears by it. And
it rode okay. I rode it afterwards.
Yeah,
wasn't horrible.
I still don't. But I still don't get that it's a flat tire.
Yeah. Bike tires should go on bikes. Car tires should go on cars.
And you put up a great cause there. The fact that the motorcycle companies and the tire companies put literally millions into R&D.
Correct.
To develop the right tires, and you want to completely breach that and go a different route.
I'm figuring if they wanted a car tire on it, they would have put it there.
Go buy a car.
But there's some guys that do it. There's some certain places where they don't have access, and the car tires seem to last a little bit longer. I've heard of guys out west or like the Midwest where it's really hot, where bike tires just burn up.
Yeah, just melt away.
The car tires work a little bit better, but I still stick to the original engineer's plan.
And I remember reading a couple of articles on it. The fact that a lot of guys out west in the Southwest, where the roads are level,
they're good and straight.
They're not really doing hairpin turns so much.
I'd imagine a car tire wouldn't turn as good as a bike tire.
No, I don't think so either. It's got to be weird when it gets up on the point.
Yeah,
you're really giving yourself less.
It don't really want. I rode car tire bikes, race bikes, and they just want to go straight.
Yeah.
But these are 12-inch, 13-inch car tires.
Yeah.
That tire on that one was pretty skinny.
Yeah.
For car tires.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to advise to do that.
No.
And we're definitely not going to advise to do that. But that was an interesting discussion that we had about it. For those of you who actually understand the science behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting. And I remember going home and after reading about this, and I'm like, okay, Chuck's correct, man. Everybody's saying no, and there's a few guys out west that say, yeah, it's a great idea for flat and level roads, but unfortunately here around this Northeast, we don't have roads like that.
It's like a novelty item, you know what I mean?
Another novelty item.
Look, I got a car tire on my bike.
Right, but the side mills on a car tire are different also than a motorcycle tire.
It is, yeah.
Very different.
They're wound different. It's just, car tires are set up for 4.
Sure.
Motorcycle motorcycle tires are set up for two.
Two in line.
So it's, you know,
once in a while, three.
I'm imagining, you know, the technologies and the theories, you know, vary a bit.
So, what do you think of? And excuse me for not having the terminology of the name correct. The three-wheeled
Trikes.
Not trikes, but the.
Well, it's still a trike, but it's like backwards.
Two wheels in the front. What do they call them again?
What do they call
Have you ever worked on something like that?
Yes, they're hard to work on. I really don't do it because you need like a special lift.
That's right.
What do they call it? Like they make one a slingshot. You drive
Yeah.
like a car, and I can't
Have you
remember the
ridden
other
them?
one. Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's neat. Your standard like trike, you have one wheel in the front and two wheels in the back. Those two wheels in the back want to push that one wheel just straight. So they're kind of hard to turn. Mm-hmm. They're good at low speed, but at high speed you need a little bit more input.
Right.
The other trikes with the two wheels in the front, they actually incorporate like car technology, where there's actually cast and camber.
Oh, there is?
And there's, and
So
some of them have like
wheels
power
actually-
steering. So right, as you turn the wheels will kind of...
But if you have all that and you have power steering, why not
You
just
might as
get
well have a
four
car.
wheels and get a car?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't ridden one. I'd like to try.
Yeah.
I really like to try. Not that I
fun
have
stuff.
the mind of buying one, but I like to just experience it.
Yeah. You know, the guys try them that, you know, that don't feel comfortable on bikes no more. You know, they're getting a little older, or if they have an injury, whatever.
Right.
You know, you come to a light, you don't got to put your feet down.
That's true, and you're still. There's nothing wrapped around you. You're still
Right,
exposed
in the
to the air.
in the wind. Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
wind, which is the important part of being on a motorcycle.
Yeah, yeah.
Without a doubt. But getting back to those, the caster and camber is all car stuff. It's
Right.
the way the wheels.
It just makes them easier to ride. It's easier to handle. I mean, it's, you know, from a engineer's point of view,
Yeah.
you know, it could have been some guy that just one day, you know, rode a regular trike and said, well, this thing's, you know, too hard to handle.
Right.
What if we did it this way?
Right.
And,
So, have you ever built or worked on like regular trikes, like a Harley trike?
I have, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tri-Glides. Yeah. I had a customer bring me one like right before Daytona.
How about sidecar? Ever ridden a sidecar?
I have. I had a customer right around the corner, Joe from AMAP.
Oh, Joe from AMAP, right.
He brought me his trike today, 75 shovel head.
Really?
With a sidecar.
With a sidecar. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
that's
sidecar, not
crazy.
trike. Yeah, sidecar.
Sidecar. Yeah.
He digs it.
Does he? Yeah. I never owned one, but I've ridden them a few times, and it's kind of something you got to get used to.
Yeah, it's weird because you're up
Definitely
straight
gotta
and
get
it doesn't lean. Some of these guys that, you know, drive with the sidecars that do it for a while, you know, you can turn one way and you can get the sidecar to lift up, and if you turn the other way, you actually have a wheel on the ground, so you can really yank on the bar because
Right.
the bike's not gonna.
It's not going to.
It's gonna flip. It's not gonna flip. It actually gives you better,
Right.
you know, better handling going
But
one way.
only on the right
Only one
turn.
way. Yeah. Not
Yeah,
so
so you
much
can
the
only
other.
make right turns.
Going fast anyway.
Going fast anyway. So do you have you have a unique customer base. Some of these guys that come in are real characters.
I do.
Do you have any good stories about them? I've seen them.
It's, you know, everybody's got their, you know, their gigs. You know, some guys are always in a hurry. Some guys, you know, kind of free willy, you know, do whatever you got to do. Some people are, you know, very meticulous. You know, they're very particular about certain things and how they want it. You know, it's like, you know, I'm basically a public servant, so I got to deal with.
You're a civil servant.
I am.
Well, you've certainly been in the business long enough to get all these crazy stories, you know. And I know it's sometimes you're not exactly comfortable about talking about this, you know, live on TV.
Yeah.
So I get it.
We'll save that for another show.
What's that? We'll save that for another show. That's
yeah.
pre-recorded, so we could edit it.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, we certainly at Ted's shop had a serious collection of characters that would come in there and say the silliest things. So the silliest things.
The Harley guys are usually, you know, somewhat colorful. You know, they have.
Oh, without a
you
doubt.
know.
Then there was a guy who lived near the shop, and he would come in and say, I remember one day he insisted on talking to Ted, and we didn't let people talk to Ted. He was the mad scientist
Right.
behind.
You guys were on the
building
front line,
engines
yeah.
And so this guy comes in and he asks if there was really such thing as a metric adjustable wrench. So yeah, of course. But he goes, I got to talk to Ted about it. I said, he's busy. but I'll talk to you about it. He goes,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure if I should really ask this or not. I said, but what is it? He goes, I don't know how to find a metric adjustable wrench. So I go, I have 2 of them. I'll sell you one. He goes, but I don't understand how if it's adjustable, it's only metric. I said, it's got little detents in it. It only stops at metric sizes.
That's great.
He didn't go for it.
No, some guy,
He
yeah.
didn't go for it. So we were talking again before about internal combustion engines, which is what basically runs our lives. Whether you like it or not. Electric cars are for now. And we should find technology that goes past that. There's nothing wrong with it for leisure and having fun and motorcycle and drag racing. Everyday cars, we should find the technology that doesn't pollute as bad and it doesn't take so much to get it going. We don't need rocket ships to get around during the day, just going to work and shopping.
Well,
and
electric's
like
coming. It's coming.
Electric's coming, but they're still having. What do you do
teething
with the batteries?
pains?
Teething pains. There's been companies out there. Talk to a guy like you that has a lot of automotive motorcycle knowledge. Interesting stuff that the propulsion that propels a diesel locomotive. You know how that works, right? You don't know how it works. Okay. Take like Long Island Railroad or Metro North or even the freight railroads, all right? If they're being run by a diesel, okay? The diesel engine, they were around 2,000 to 3,000 horsepower. And they actually turn an alternator.
Right.
And an alternator obviously makes a lot of electricity that big that's in the locomotive. And the actual wheels are turned by something called a traction motor, which is an electric motor, a big electric motor. So everybody thinks that the diesel actually propels the train.
Diesel runs the electric.
It doesn't. So they had a couple of companies that came up with some pretty brilliant things. And they actually took a GM pickup like yours, that came with a gas motor, though.
Right.
You have a diesel in yours. Came with a gas motor. They took a small European diesel. I think it was about 110, 120 horsepower. They put a huge alternator behind it, and they put traction motors on the front and rear differential.
Right.
And that's how they propelled it. And they got it to go. They got it up to something like 55 miles to the gallon, using that type of technology, which, again, it's a diesel. But this is a clean burn diesel. It's quite clean. It may be even cleaner than gasoline.
The new ones are nice.
Yeah, the new ones are really nice. And since it's so small, it doesn't put out nearly the pollution that a full-size large diesel would put out, even with all the anti-pollution stuff we have there. But I thought it fascinating that they were trying to adapt the technology from a diesel locomotive to a passenger vehicle or even a mid-size delivery truck. Because obviously it's not going to spin the tires, but it would certainly get up to highway speeds.
Well, that's that
quickly.
hybrid thing. That's basically what but they're doing these hybrid things they're doing now.
Right, but they're doing it a different way. So I always thought that technology, because the AC traction motor is tremendous, much better than a DC traction motor.
Right.
Because it's an amazing technology, and I'd love to see more of that. Of course, I'd love to see electric cars. It's funny that I just saw an article about electric cars in Norway, and there's so many of them that the electric grid crashes at night when everybody plugs their cars in because they're charging their cars. And of course, people think that because you have an electric car, you're not polluting, but you still need to get the electricity to the car. So you're using the electric grid and you're producing electricity
depending on how the electricity is produced. Determines
whether it's
the carbon
coal,
footprint.
Right, the carbon footprint, whether it's coal or natural gas or even hydropower.
Right.
So, these technologies are amazing. I'd love to see some more of it. Rather than just pure battery driven.
It's coming.
It's definitely coming. Even a fuel cell.
Yeah.
That's nice. They say that the fuel cell you better put in a car should last about 3 years before it needs to be replenished.
Right.
And then cost about $1,000 to refuel it. So that's nice too, because that's certainly a big savings, and that makes serious electricity also. to propel a motor
They're
vehicle.
trying to work the whole safety thing. There's the whole safety issue.
It's the delivery thing. It's the safety issue
that
because
becomes
we're
the-
so
the
used to
problem.
delivering gasoline and diesel,
Right.
that we pretty much have the safety of it down. But you start changing that to something that's more hydrogen based, and it could offer
It can go sketchy.
Yeah,
It can go sketchy.
Without a doubt, a lot of problems. So, what do you have in store? Are you rebuilding the car? Are you rebuilding the bike? Or are you just going to go out and do some more testing?
Yeah, we'll do a little bit more testing. The car is probably where we're going to leave it for now. If you start to make them faster, then you have to, upgrade the safety things and roll cages and this and that. And the car's happy the way it is. The bike will goof off it a little bit. I'm licensed to go, I think 750. So as long as but I want to keep it a street bike.
Yeah.
Still working it out. I don't ride as much. I ride probably about as much as you do.
I ride a bit.
We don't ride enough.
I'd love to ride a lot more. It's time. It's the free time. And then when you have free time, the weather's awful, and people go, "Hey, you're just a wimp because you want to." I've ridden my fair share in bad weather, in snow and rain and sleet on a motorcycle, and pouring rain in the Midwest where you have nowhere to. In Kansas, where there's nowhere to hide.
No.
It's just all you can do is hunker down there and get wet.
Yeah.
So but I don't ride as much as I like to. I really love to spend much more time on a motorcycle. And it's just again, it's work. It's
hard.
It's
life happens.
Life happens.
Yeah.
You got families, you got business, you got work, you got to do stuff. And
we sneak it in
like
now.
I said,
we get it in.
we sneak it in. But the last couple of times I want to go for a ride, we had all that horrible weather.
Yeah.
And you look at it, you stand there with the garage door open, going, I'm just not voluntarily going to go out there. No matter rain gear.
We'll try again tomorrow.
Because you know what I hate doing? I hate having to clean my bike up after I did that.
Yeah.
You got to get into every crevice. It's
not worth
so
it.
time consuming.
Yeah.
You got to put it on the lift, get it up in the air, and you're not even doing mechanical work. You're just cleaning.
Right.
So that's really annoying. Okay, again, where's the shop?
151 Allen Boulevard, Farmingdale.
151 Allen Boulevard. That's off of Route 110.
Off of Route 110.
And the big U-Haul deal is on the corner.
Yeah.
And White Castle.
U-Haul and White Castle, yeah.
You call U-Haul, White Castle. You head down there. You're about 3/4 of the way on the right.
Yes, sir.
All right. And any musicians, almost across from Phase 2
Phase
Studios.
Phase 1, yeah, I think it's
Phase
Phase
1
1.
studio, rehearsal studio.
The rehearsal
Great
studio.
place to rehearse. What's that?
Studio.
Yes, a great studio to rehearse at. But Chuck, I want to thank you for coming on, man.
Not a problem, man. Yeah,
we've been friends a long time, and it's great. I hope that some people hear about this and contact you for some work and maybe a little comedy.
I couldn't say
while
no
they're
to
there.
you,
Well, no. And there's a couple of things I want to do to my bike. I need some service going on,
Sure.
so I'll see you in the next
Whatever you
week or
need.
two and drop it off for a few days. And,
Excellent. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing oil change, and I still got the winter air in the tires. You got to
change that
out.
Yeah,
you got to change that out, right? You got to change out the winter
That's old cold air. We need nice warm air.
Yeah, we got to put warm air in this for the summer. And but we were also talking about the cycles of a 4-cycle engine. Remember that when we came in?
Yes.
What'd you say it was?
It's intake, compression, ignition, exhaust,
Really?
I think.
So you know what I say?
Yes.
Suck, squeeze, pop, fooey.
Attaboy.
That's it. That's the 4 cycles, right?
That's the slang version, but yes.
Slang version.
Yes.
Suck, squeeze,
Gets it
pop,
done.
fooey. That's a good one. Chucky, thank you so much for being on, man.
No problem.
I really
Anytime.
appreciate it. And yes, I'm going to say it on the air. You look and sound like Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs. When you put a hat on and you start getting into that, you really do.
Maybe
One day we're going to have to
sometime if you come by the shop,
We're
you get
gonna-
my 2 minutes of stand up. That's about all you're
Right,
getting.
because I've seen it. We're going to get Mike Rowe on down to your shop and do some
not
dirty
a problem.
jobs.
Anytime.
And the two of you looking at each other and talking would be very
could be
funny.
creepy, but all
People
right,
probably
I'll try
going,
it.
I don't get it, but he really does. You really sound and look like Mike
Yeah,
Rowe.
man.
All right?
Somebody's got to do that dirty job.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, man.
All right, everybody. The show is, you know what show you're on? 22 Now.
22 Now.
22 Now. It's Area 22 Productions. And I thank everybody for tuning in. Chuck over here from
Glad to be
Mid-Island
here.
Performance, motorcycles, ATVs, you name it. He does it all.
We try. Thanks again.
We'll see you again next week when I have another great guest on. Comedian, stand-up guy, great singer, great friend. Billy Mira will be on with me next week. See you next week, everybody.
Yeah.